This is going to be an interesting read. The music that preceded this is Socio Envy, Kill Your Conscience, and then Soulshine, as in the song that inspired my company. And then as Soulshine was ending, and I kind of zoned out, so I don't know if there was another song that was playing, I was running through a scenario that is very likely that I would have to deal with at work with one of a coworker of mine, and I was getting so angry at this kid's blatant ignorance of struggle. King of Crystals in reverse, Queen of Swords in reverse, Knight of Swords, or Queen of Swords upright, Knight of Swords, and Seven of Swords. So there's a lot weighing on your mind that is bringing upset to the physicality. And if some of that has to do with like your financial comforts and physical comforts, seeing someone that is very lackadaisical and dismissive of other people's struggles is deeply triggering. What I have to remind myself is everyone, even that kid, is fighting a battle I know nothing about, and making a harsh judgment on their perceived privilege is a shadow aspect I know I have because financial struggles and things have always been present in my life. Not having a very healthy relationship with money is something that I really want to work on and get to a better place at. The world in reverse. The world is different for every person. What is the worst day in the world to you does not bother another person. Maybe because they've never experienced that, or because they have dealt with things themselves on such a deeper level that your experience does not affect them, even if they were to go through that. And that's not to dismiss what you have gone through or embolden what they have done. Your experience is still valid. It has no comparison to what anyone else has done because it is your experience. What that person has done to lead them to that point in their life where their paths cross with you is a completely different route. I'm seeing Death Stranding and the game with Norman Reedus and his Norman fetus. And at the end of a mission, you see the path that you take. So, like every step that Sam walked, you actually see, and it shows like the efficiency, yada, 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 and it gives you your ranking. I always found that to be a really interesting aspect of the game because you can really see where something maybe had distracted you, or that mission literally required you to go up and down a hill 4 separate times to deliver everything or whatever it was. And having that perspective of your path is different from another porter's. A porter is literally someone who delivers something. That's their entire purpose, is to move something from point A to point B. You, as in your vessel, are the porter of your soul. Thank you, Spirit. You are meant to deliver your soul to where it is meant to be to experience things in this world. I keep getting ads for, I'm pretty sure this is very AI based, so I will not be using this service, but it's like this know where you're supposed to be physically based on your star chart. And even as a tarot reader, I'm like, that sounds like some bullshit. That just sounds like people trying to fish information out. But it does give a relevance to that feeling where even in a place we've known all our life, we feel like we don't belong. The equator, to make equal. And that's because we're not using our full chest. We're not breathing our full breath. We're not using all of our soul. If all you look at are the light aspects, the fun and cutesy aspects of yourself, you are going to be missing completely a different part of your life, a different part of your experiences. the shadow has an incredible power. And sadly, that power is dismissed or diminished because people label it as toxic, people label it as evil or angry or sporadic or erratic. And they only label things like that when it is so powerful, they have to take the power away from it in order for them to claim that power. It's you see this a lot with um like gender disputes, 555. People say that the world can't survive without men, that the world would perish without men, that women wouldn't be protected without men. But it is women that sustain and build life. Without women, there would be nothing. Without women, there would only be death and chaos and fire. The point of the divine feminine and the divine masculine is to make equal. And that has not been the case for the longest time. Even in yourself, your divine feminine has been pushed to the side and said, you're too soft, you're too weak, you're too emotional, you need to be like this. And even as women, we have had to be the man. We have had to be the strong one. We have had to be the provider. And that rage is justified. Going back to what I was saying when I was driving to work listening to music, I was getting so angry at this imagining with this kid I work with. And he's over 18, but he's a fucking child. And the biggest thing in the musing was, you come from money, you come from privilege, I've seen where your house is, and you say you have 3 jobs and you don't need this place, so why are you still making us suffer with your blatant racism and homophobia and laziness? Speak up, and it's time. Comfort in reverse. So some things may have to be said, but remembering a conversation that I had with my mom and a concern I have with my brother, there is a time and a place that everything needs to be said, and not everything can be spilled at once. So I try to have a pretty healthy and communicative relationship with my mother. And one thing that has come up is when she would get angry when we were little and start having those talks with us, it often felt like berating. It felt like everything that was frustrating her came out at once, and it was directed to us, and we were just subjected to that, even still. And we're working on that, but it is that very similar energy. When you start speaking up, be mindful with what you say. Don't let just everything spill out of you, because then you will not get the closure that you're seeking for, and maybe painted more in that erratic emotional energy, when what you feel is valid, but everyone else will see it as something too much, as something extra. I can't tell you when to stop, and I can't tell you when to go. That is for your discernment to defer what's needed.